bipolar.
It's your man Chachi. He's here.
We are discussing how to support your wife or husband, your spouse, dealing with
Mental crisis.
mental health challenges
Mental crisis.
like anxiety, depression,
All of them.
those type
Bipolar.
of things.
That's a great one for me.
Well, can't speak on it because I don't have experience with that
But guess who do?
as a therapist, but not as a spouse.
Who told you that?
Hold on, you trying to say I'm bipolar?
Look,
Clear.
I didn't say bipolar, but what I am
You
going to
just
say,
said.
I'm going to call it a mental crisis because it covers everything under the entire umbrella. So I'm going to leave it with that.
Okay, so I don't know. So for me, I have dealt with postpartum depression. I have dealt with anxiety. I dealt with a lot of postpartum after our twins and they were preemies. And our son was, just about 2 at the time. So I know what that struggle was like, and I also know what dealing with anxiety was like for me. How would you say you showed up for me during those times? What would you say?
Well, that's a big issue in today's society. Most people do not know how to show up for the individual because it's going into the unknown or the unfamiliar. With that being said, what do most people do during that time? They avoid it as much as possible, or they start yelling. How do you show up for someone if they're afraid, right? So you really have to get outside of what you think and actually try to understand what they need at that time. That's the whole point.
Right, but I asked you, how did you show up for me?
I gave you the topics. I just gave it to you a different way.
Well, you
I gave you
told
what
me-
you needed at that. But I will tell you this though: when you went through that during the beginning kids and everything, no, I didn't have it because here I am with these new babies. I don't know what's going on there. My family ain't teach me none of that stuff, and I'm up here trying to learn how to chew bubble gum and walk at the same time, and we ain't even had no goddamn food in the house. I mean, so now I'm trying to learn how to put food in the house. Then I'm trying to learn your issues and your complications, while yet I got my own problems because I dealt with crazy mess and I did not know it. So let's just be real with it. I did not know. So most people don't know, but this is the main reason why you need to actually seek for help. So the Bible says, ask, seek, knock. In that order too. And it wasn't until I started asking, seeking, and knocking. But I did show up though.
You have always been consistent, right? So that has never been an area where you have lacked. You know what I mean? I feel like there are certain things that you may not have understood at different stages as far as what my needs were, and maybe a lack of patience at certain times. But for the most part, your intention was always to love me well, right? So even in you not knowing, your heart posture towards me was to love me well. You know what I'm saying? And you have always been consistent in that. So you may not have known the right thing to do or the right way to do it, but for the most part, you were always intentional to want to do it, if that makes sense.
It is. I get people these days that, before I go there, you show up. You're abrasive when you show up, and it's because, like we just talked about before, if you was never taught how to do it, you're just going to go ahead and do it your way. And my purpose for what I stated is you have to meet the needs of what they need, not what you want to give them. But I'm going to go ahead and say this in closing. Many people, because they don't know how to show up, they just walk off. They'll walk off on a marriage. They'll walk off on a relationship. They'll walk off on their children. They'll walk off on their responsibilities because they just don't know. And then the other person, they'll start cussing them out, snapping on them, putting them on child support, whatever else, cheating on them, all this other crazy stuff because they don't know how to show up. And this is really the time where you need to go ahead and seek help. Stop running your mouth and just ask, hey, how do you want me to go? What do you need? Well, you did this. Now we got the people, the name blame. They're blaming everybody else. Well, I'm blaming you, forgetting that, guess what? They have a mental crisis. There's something in their mind that has not clicked. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's anxiety, depression, suicidal thought, it doesn't matter. Something there has never been addressed. So they don't know how to show up. The ideology of it, right, is to get out of your way and to insert yourself into their lane. Put your business out there a little bit. COVID happened, right? You went through stuff that I ain't never seen anybody go through. It was annoying, I'm not gonna lie. But you said, I need you to take me outside. I just got off work. That's what I'm saying in my mind. I didn't tell you that, but you said, I need to go outside. My mind, it's cold out there.
Yeah.
What did I do? I did the, okay. I did a okay, and we went outside. And we walked, and we walked. And it was cold, it was freezing, but I still showed, oh no, it was cold. It was goddamn cold. It was stupid cold.
Yes, because I feel like for anxiety, first of all, with COVID, so when you start mixing, like discernment, spiritual gifts, anxiety, all these different things in one, it can really, really kind of get to you. And when COVID first started, before they shut everything down, like the week before, I pulled the kids out of school and I was like, this is about to get bad. And I could literally like feel it in my body. And I remember telling you, like, I feel death walking down the street. Like, it feels like death is walking down the street to me. And I knew a lot of people were going to die, and it just was not a pleasant feeling. And unless it's a feeling that you have discerned, it's not really something I can put into words to you other than tell you I literally felt death walking down the street. And so I was having a lot of anxiety and a lot of anxiety attacks. And I would be in the house, and then you would come in the evening, and I would just need to like go walk because I felt like I was like crawling out of my own skin or something, And so I thank you for that, for all those late night walks. Sometimes I just felt like I needed to breathe like fresh air, not like inside and in the house. And I also had to change the way I ate, like no caffeine, reduce the sugar. I think I lived like for a month or so off of green apples and salmon. That's all I ate. And I just had to change the way I ate and what I took in. I stopped watching the news completely. And to this day, I still don't, if you don't tell me something was on the news, I don't know, because I ain't watching it.
It was a mental crisis, and people got to be sensitive to know when the mental crisis is, because not only do it affect husband and wife, but it also affect those children. So you just got to be very aware, how to know what you're dealing with, and then also how to handle it while you're in it. All that yelling and walking off on each other, that's not going to work. And that's what a lot of people do. They walk off on each other.
It's important when you have a spouse dealing with things like anxiety and depression to really be a safe place that they can look to, like kind of like as their North Star and their guide. Because if you are agitated and irritable and impatient when they're kind of looking to you, need some help to navigate me out of this storm that I'm in mentally and emotionally, and they are not stoic and
they just don't know
that foundation, it makes it extremely hard.
They just don't know.
So much harder, and it can really be a rift and a divide. So I'm grateful that we have been able to navigate between the two of us, PTSD and all of that, anxiety, postpartum depression, and still be here learning and growing and trying to figure out how to love each other and support each other through it. And I think that's important, to stay, don't leave, don't give up on your spouse, and to seek help and support and resources outside of just you if you don't feel like you have the capabilities and the qualifications to deal with it.
Agreed.
Yeah. Yep. That's what we got, y'all. So y'all stay together, stick together, and work it out.